Well, it's been 1 month since Hurricane Florence came into my area. And as soon as I get the repairs done to my house, another storm shows up. As of right now, we have what is now Tropical Storm Michael, which was a Category 4 storm close to a Category 5 that hit the Florida Panhandle and is now headed my direction. Luckily, this one will not be as bad as Florence because it will be weakened to around 40 miles an hour, they're predicting. And plus, the storm will be just going quickly. It will be out by the end of the day. But it will be here in about, I'd say, 9 hours from the time I'm recording this. And then I'm going to get impacted by a storm, a bunch of rain, some wind, but expected to be out of here by the end of the day. So, what do we have going on? First off, the Chronicles of Narnia, if you're familiar with the movies that were made, like The Lion, Witch of the Wardrobe, Prince Caspian, that is now being made into a rebooted series and movies going into Netflix. Now, I've watched and read a couple of books of Chronicles of Narnia. I've read the first 2 books and watched 2 of the movies. I still remember seeing I had a VHS of the original TV series that was aired in Britain, in which that series was made in 1988 up until 1990. I don't know if you can still find it out there. It's probably on YouTube somewhere. But since then, there have been 3 movies made in the modern era. Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe back in 2005. Prince Caspian in 2008. And Voyage of the Dawn Treader of 2010. Now, they were supposed to make another movie, The Silver Chair. However, the company, Walden Media, their contract with this series had expired in 2011, and that's why the series just stopped in its tracks. The C.S. Lewis company did announce in October 2013 that they had entered into an agreement with the Mark Gordon company to produce an adaptation of The Silver Chair. But December 5th, 2013, it was announced that David McGee would write the screenplay. In July 2014, the official Narnia website allowed the opportunity to fans to suggest names for the Lady of the Green Kirtle, who is the main antagonist. Then finally in August of 2016, about 6 years after the previous film was made, Sony as TriStar Productions and Entertainment One Films said they would finance and distribute the 4th film. So there's supposed to be a 4th film coming, but it's been going through some production issues. But in the meantime, Netflix is going to make a series of their own. And of course, everyone's been competing with the fantasy epic genre as far as different TV series, movie series. But if you are not familiar with the Chronicles of Narnia, highly recommend seeing the movies or reading the books. Revolves around 4 children who travel into the world of Narnia, which is, if you go through the first film, is accessed through a wardrobe. And they are guided by a lion named Aslan, who is the king of Narnia. So, like I said, we'll keep an eye on the Netflix adaptation. Have they said who is going to be working this one? Okay, you know how I mentioned Entertainment One? Well, Mark Gordon of Entertainment One, Douglas Gresham, and Vincent Sieber are going to serve as the executive producers for the series and as producers for the features. Let's see. This is probably going to be a quick video because I haven't had much lined up. But there was a little bit of controversy at Furry Invasion. I don't know how widespread it's been, but it showed up on my Twitter feed, and I was a little intrigued by what was happening. One attendee by the name of Fjord said that she has a fursuit, and apparently Furry Invasion told her that she cannot use her suit. From what I understand, they wanted to wear clothes because of the anatomy of the suit. Let me see if I can find a picture of the suit, and it's one of those suits where it has the female anatomy, so to speak. And I'm not going to be worried about putting this up because YouTube doesn't pay me anyway. So this is the suit that we're talking about, and you can pretty much see why this had become an issue. Now this is interesting because she later said that they would allow her to wear it. This is what her Twitter feed says. She says, apparently my suit is too sexual for Furry Invasion. Hashtag ACFI 2018 thinks female suits are only appropriate after hours. I'm mad at and hurt by the sexist policies of Furry Invasion. I was humiliated by their security staff because I had the gall to be obviously female. Talked with Furry, then later, talked to Furry Invasion staff. They agreed to allow the suit. If you see a picture, let's see. And then later, she said they reversed course and once again banned the suit from con spaces to sexual. Again, according to Furry Invasion, female suits are not acceptable in public spaces without clothing. And I was a little intrigued with this because I know that there are other female suits just like this, and I do see them go around. Usually a mix of whether they wear clothes or not. But I took the liberty of looking into their code of conduct policy. And the only thing that I could find that could be relevant to this let's see, Furry Invasion. I drew up the wrong website. Give me 1 second. Okay, so Furry Invasion 2018, and now am I in? Okay, and code of conduct. Okay, so here is the rule that I found under the section Conduct and Behavior, paragraph 2. Remember that while you're at the convention, you're not only here to enjoy the furry fandom, but you also serve to represent it. As such, the following behaviors are prohibited in any public or meeting spaces of the host venue. And the one that we're looking at here is subsection C. Failure to wear appropriate attire to a public setting, to include leggings, tops, and footwear, or failure to wear attire of any kind. Additionally, tasteful and appropriate swimwear must be worn while using the host's venue, pool, and hot tub. So now this one is, from how I read it, is put in a broad sense as to not just limit it to fursuits. But but as some others have pointed out, there's a bit of a problem here. As I pointed out as I responded to her, this does not specifically say anything about female fursuits having to actually wear clothes in public spaces, because there are female fursuits out there that don't wear clothes. But of course, I did point out that what can factor into this is how the suit is made. As you saw there, it had certain anatomy that would that may draw the line on PG-13 or rating. But of course, other suits that I've seen that are just like this, most of the time I do see them wear clothes. And I'll point this out. Yes, there has to be a line drawn as far as what you should have in public spaces, because you do have an image to protect. So, I mean, Furry Invasion does have the right to do that if they feel that it is crossing the line as far as exposure to the public. They can do that. With that being said, there's one problem that Furry Invasion has that I do see among other furry conventions, and that is inconsistency of enforcing the rules. What I mean by that is that while this case has gone out, and they're telling her, "Hey, you got to have something to cover that up," and again, I'm not seeing this as a sexist incident, but more of trying to keep a clean image in a public setting. If this were in any limited spaces in the convention, maybe that's up to them. But when it comes to a public space, that could be an entirely different story. And in fact, even though that this is their con space, it can also ultimately be up to the hotel. Because remember, they control the space. They own it. But back to what I was going to get at, inconsistency. Even though that something like this would not be allowed, yet there are others that wear thongs, bondage gear, puppy hoods, and they're still allowed to go around. And this is not just for fursuits. There's people that do not wear suits that actually do wear this among the public space. And I see this in many photos and videos. And to my knowledge, I don't see the rules enforced on them. Even though, and yes, I am aware that there are a few cons that do enforce this. But what I'm trying to argue here is that there's a lack of consistency. If you are going to enforce a rule that is about a public decency, it's got to be across the board. So while I do understand what Furry Invasion is doing on trying to protect the image of the furries and their convention themselves. They have got it can't just be limited to female fursuits, as so to speak. Like I said, I don't see this as being a sexist problem, but more of a lack of consistency. So for me, I think that Furry Invasion has got to rewrite their code of conduct and make it more clear. Because for me, this is a little too broad. So that would be my recommendation. I would say to them, hey guys, you're free to do what you want in your rooms, in the spaces here, but when you're out here in the public, you got to dress decent. Yeah. You got to be in your regular clothes and regular fursuits, so yeah, I would ask them to clarify their code of conduct, and that goes with any convention, not just Furry Invasion. You got to clarify your rules and make sure that it is enforced across the board. Okay. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think Furry Invasion made the right decision? Do you think that Fjord has a right to complain about this? Just let me know about this, and I might discuss this a little further in another video. But for now, I gotta hunker down for this tropical storm that's coming in. So this Dragon's Mouth is now closing.